Hey guys, I'm back. Okay, on to the next topic. Okay, so now that you've prepped for your silicone baby to arrive, now we're going to talk about what do I do when the silicone doll arrives? What can I expect? So for people that are new to silicone, they have absolutely no idea what to expect when this doll arrives. So I'm just going to kind of go over what I do when a new doll arrives and would recommend for you to do as a new silicone collector to do to make sure that you are checking the doll over, thoroughly inspecting the doll, knowing what to do with the doll should you have a problem, that sort of thing. So when the doll arrives, most of us like to do a box opening video, or we like to take pictures to share on Instagram, any number of things that you do to enjoy the experience of getting your first silicone doll is wonderful. Okay, so go ahead and make your video, take your pictures, do what it is you like to do for the experience of your first doll arriving. But then I'm going to tell you, after the camera gets turned off and you're done taking pictures and all of that excitement and glory has happened, you need to stop and take a minute and make sure that you're going to inspect the doll thoroughly. Now, one, you're going to want to make sure there's good lighting. So if it's a dark, dreary day, or if it's in the evening or whatever, make sure that you have really good lighting to really thoroughly look over the doll. The reason why I tell people this is that a lot of collectors are so enthralled with the experience of getting their first doll that they don't stop to actually check the doll for possible boo-boos or things wrong with the doll, especially if you've received the doll from another collector. You don't know the previous history of the doll. You don't know how the doll was handled. You don't know what the doll may have been exposed to. So it's very important to protect your investment and make sure you thoroughly inspect the doll. First thing I do after I get a doll home, I do a box opening video. I do whatever I do. And then I stop and I literally go over the doll with a fine-tooth comb. I'm going to look in all of the places that a doll can have a problem, like in their little armpits, in their elbow creases, in their mouth, behind the ear. So, one of the biggest things that I have noticed that people never look at is where the ear attaches to the head. That is one of the places, if a person is pulling clothing over the doll's head to put on clothing and outfits, it can catch on the ears. So, any place where there could be a possible issue, look. The neck. If a doll has a one-piece, one-pore, attached neck without like a ball-jointed neck, like hers is two pieces, so she turns her head, there's a weakened spot at a lot of dolls in their neckline because it's thinner than the weighted head, and if it's rolling around or whatever and moving around, it can cause stretching and tearing around the neck area. Inside the mouth. If a collector has really enjoyed using pacifiers and, role-playing feeding the baby on a regular basis, they're opening the doll's mouth. And the corners of the mouth and the corner of the lips can be a very good spot for weakened areas and tearing. Also, wear and tear on the paint. So look on the inside of their lips. Just check over everything thoroughly. I have a little flashlight on my phone. Most phones have them. That's a good way to look inside the mouth and see everything you need to see is with that little light on. Check in between your fingers. Anywhere that you can think that there'd be like a point of tension or stress. And I will tell you that behind the knees is a big one. Also, where the diaper comes to the upper part of the legs can be another spot where the legs attach. If it's a more firm silicone, I've seen tears in this area. The back side of the doll, check everywhere. In between the toes, everywhere where there could be a spot that you might not notice immediately. Toes are a big one. They get caught on things when you're putting the clothing on them, and it's very easy to bend back a little toe and get a tear. You're also going to want to check the paint. Just look the doll over. Look to see if there's any missing paint anywhere. And if there's missing paint, there's missing matting. shiny spots. It's one of the things that's kind of my pet peeve is I've received dolls where I've asked specifically, is the matting intact? Does the doll have any shiny spots? Those are things that catch my eye first because I have overhead lighting. So if there's a shiny spot, it's going to show up like that. And it's not an easy repair just to mat a doll. People think it's like such an easy thing to send a doll to an artist and have them remat the doll. It's not. It is literally, most of the time when I've talked to artists, the thing that they don't enjoy the most and they worry about the most, because you can ruin a doll if the doll isn't matted properly. It can really it can be a mess. So a lot of artists out there don't like to even have to remat the dolls again because it can cause problems. So make sure the matting is intact. Check for shiny spots. Check for paint peeling. Check the hair. Turn the baby over and look at the back side of the head. That is going to be one of the biggest things that I found that new collectors getting a doll will complain about, is that nobody told me that there was a bald spot on the back of the head. That's the first place, because we're always laying our dolls on their backs most of the time. That's where the hair is going to come out the most. Some artists are really great at rooting super deep. Some are not. It's going to be a wide varying amount. And the older silicone dolls I've noticed to have a lot of hair loss. So pictures don't always show it because a lot of people won't turn them over and take a picture of the back side of the head unless you request it. So checking the doll thoroughly, making sure also open-eyed dolls, another pet peeve. Check around their eyes. Make sure there's no funkiness going on with the eyes. Make sure the eyelashes are intact. Make sure that there's no tears in the corner of the eyes. I've seen some collectors change out their doll's eyes after they've received them. That can cause rips and tears in the corners of the eyes. Anything like that. You just want to thoroughly check over the doll. Feel the silicone. See if it's in good condition. I mean, you're going to notice things most of the time right away. So the reason why we do this, why I'm recommending doing this the day you get the doll, is because if 2 months later you're changing your doll and suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, there's a toe that has a tear. Oh my gosh, did I do that or did it arrive to me that way? This way you know, once you've inspected the doll, what condition the doll is in the moment you received it. There's no question about whether you may have done damage. So if it happens later on down the road, because none of us intend to have anything happen to our dolls, but with, dressing and handling on a regular basis, things just can happen. It's just nature of what it is, and silicone is a delicate type of medium. And so we always have to keep that in mind. But then you know, and if there is an issue, so if you get a doll and you're inspecting the doll and suddenly you come across several issues or any issue that wasn't explained to you at the time from the seller, you have a leg to stand on. You can take pictures. I would recommend taking pictures, taking a video, documenting it in any way you can, and going back to the seller if you're unhappy with the condition the doll arrived in. Because if you've got it in writing that the doll is in mint condition, which I firmly don't believe that any doll can arrive in mint condition if it came from a previous owner, because the doll is not brand new. Even from an artist, dolls, silicone dolls especially, will have imperfections. So using the term mint, not a fan of. Perfect condition, also not a fan of. But if the doll is in good condition and you don't see any issues, then great. But I have been known a time or two to have received a doll that was told to me it was in mint condition, and it had several issues. Missing paint, peeling paint, missing matting. I mean, any number of things. I've gotten dolls that have just come to me in such poor condition, and the pictures didn't show it. But I had it in writing that the seller of the doll stated it was in mint condition, and when I got the doll, I documented that it was not in mint condition, and then I was not going to keep a doll and lose my investment. These are dolls that we invest our money in, and you have to keep that in mind. You can love a doll, you can love the look of a doll, but if the doll comes to you and it's in poor condition, don't keep the doll. That's why document the condition when you purchase the doll. Then if something happens and it arrives and it's not in said condition, you can go back on the seller, and then 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a refund and you can send the doll back. So you got to be careful these days, because some collectors, I don't even want to state it that way. What I consider really good condition and what another collector may consider really good condition could be very different opinions. So it is really up to you as the seller or as the buyer to know what it is you're looking for. Ask the right questions, and then if it doesn't come to you in that condition, you can go back on that seller and you're not stuck with it. If you don't ever ask, you have not a leg to stand on. So that's why I'm very thorough about checking, documenting everything. I don't want to lose my investment. I buy high-end dolls and I don't want to lose my money. That's the bottom line. But as a seller, I do the same thing. I document everything. I take a video inspection of the doll in really good lighting and I send it to the buyer to make sure that they're signing off. Okay, this is, everything looks good. I try to be as out in the open as I possibly can and upfront and honest so that when the doll arrives to the buyer, everybody ends up happy, okay? I do everything I can to prevent an issue because it's stressful being the buyer, it's stressful being the seller. Generally, 99% of the time, buyers and sellers just want to be happy with the doll, and this helps prevent all of that. So last but not least, once your doll arrives, enjoy the doll. After you've inspected the doll and you're happy with the doll, enjoy the doll. That's what you purchased the doll for. We all get kind of caught up in the stress and what to expect and what to do and how do we do this and, what should I do if this happens? But in the end, if the doll arrives and you're happy with it, you just need to enjoy being a silicone mommy for the first time. It's an amazing thing. If you've never had a silicone doll, there's nothing like it. And sometimes the medium doesn't work out for some collectors. They just don't care for it. But most of the time, collectors are just thrilled because it's such a new, very lifelike feeling, and it feels like having a real baby in your arms, and they move like a real baby. And it's just an amazing experience that I hope that if a collector wants to do, collect silicone dolls, they get the chance to, because it's wonderful. I never thought I would be such a silicone lover. When they first came out, it seemed like a lot of work to me. But after being a silicone mommy for a good number of years now, I'm very comfortable with them, and I do prefer the medium most of all because it does feel the most like a living baby. And that's my goal. When I hold her, I want her to feel like a living baby in my arms. I want her to move like a living baby, and that's exactly what silicone babies are like. Not that we don't love our reborns, guys. We do. But anyways, there you have it. There's yet another piece of the puzzle of, silicone collecting and what to expect. I hope this is helpful. There's still more to the series to come, but step by step, I'm trying to take collectors through what to expect, how to prepare, how to enjoy your doll, all the things that maybe will make it a little bit easier for a first-time collector. So I hope it's been helpful information, guys. And Miss Lucy and I will be back at some point in time to do yet another video in the series. Until then, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you all soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.